There was one original thing, and it exploded. Like what? Or even it expanded. Why?
We went to a conference where they were talking about science and Judaism. Do you think that Judaism and science can mix and still be practical, in your personal opinion?
Okay, so two things. I think today we can be honest enough to say this. The first thing is, are you talking about honest science or fake science?
What do you mean?
You talking about COVID?
No.
No, there's something. Scientists are not all saints. They lie, they fabricate, they make stuff up to win an award, to get a Nobel Prize. So are you sure you're talking about real science, or are you talking about the corrupt science?
Let's say it's real science.
Okay.
Let's say you're doing honest work.
Right. If you're talking about real science, there is absolutely no contradiction between science and Torah. None. Here's an interesting. What is the theory of evolution?
The theory of evolution is that through genetic, what's it called? Adaptations and missing genes and stuff. Through a continued breeding cycle, there are different changes and ways that species evolves over time to adapt to an environment around them. It's a constant adaptation through a mixture of gene mixing and loss of different things.
Okay, so you're talking about Darwinian evolution. I'm talking about the origins of the universe.
Atoms, the constant collision and separation of atoms on a molecular level for the continued expansion of the elements to such a degree which allowed for the beginnings of different species and life which continue to collide and adapt until
Right. We just don't know how it went from being dead to being alive, but we'll work it out. What does it mean? In the beginning, there were two things, and they collided, and there was an explosion, and the rest is history. How do you start with two things?
Well, it started without two things. It started as one. It kept separating, dividing, reproducing, and just continued.
No, there had to be a Big Bang.
Oh, the Big Bang was disproven.
Ah.
It's now the theory of expansion and collapsion, which is the prominent theory.
Okay. So here's the problem. The reason they started with two things was not a mistake. It was deliberate. Because you're saying that something always existed. And from it, the universe developed. If there was one thing that always existed, and we can figure out what that one thing is, so let's say in the beginning there were subatomic particles. Okay, and then what happened? It's the end of the story.
They collision, they collided, separated.
Right. So you have to have a collision, you have to have a catalyst to make something happen. Otherwise, that one thing always was. All of a sudden it changed. Why? Well, it collided. But to collide, you have to have two things. Not only do you have to have two things, you also already have to assume that there is space. They collided. They went from one place to another. They moved. So there's space already. So there's time already, because before and after. There is heat already. There's a whole universe already. There's the problem. I want to know, what is the first original being? But once I find out what it is, it's the end of the story. There was one original thing, and it exploded. Like what? Or even it expanded. Why?
Lack of other stuff around it. It had
It got bored?
infinitesimal space to just grow.
I didn't hear what?
It had an infinite amount of space to just grow.
There was no space. We're talking in the beginning. There was no space, there was no time, there was no heat, there was no cooling, there was no expanding, See, that's one of the questions we have about God. He always existed, and then all of a sudden, let's make a world. Why? What happened? He got bored. Right? So here's the thing. If I say there was a subatomic particle, one tiny little particle, and it has all the intelligence in the universe that it can create the entire universe. Halachically, Jewishly, would that be considered idolatry? If I attribute infinite knowledge to an angel, is that idolatry?
I'd say yes.
No, because nobody ever said God is the only smart thing. Smart doesn't belong to God, necessarily. So if you think that there is something very, very, very smart, fine. It's a problem. But if I say there was a subatomic particle that was very, very smart, and it wanted to create the world, that's idolatry. If you attribute will to anything other than God, it's idolatry. Like when people worship the sun, what is wrong with that? The sun is great. I mean, without the sun, so why not worship the sun?
He was created by God.
Because it doesn't deserve credit for being the sun, because it has no choice. So worshiping the sun actually meant the sun could get into a bad mood and stop shining. So we got to keep him in a good mood. So sacrifice your firstborn.
Yeah.
That's the only solution.
So, I mean, the sun has a big appetite.
Yeah.
So idol worship is not attributing anything other than will to something other than God. So if you believe that in the beginning there was a subatomic particle that had all the intelligence in the world and it wanted to create a world, why are you calling it a particle? You might as well call it God. So now, what is the definition of God? God means a something that has a lot of intelligence that wants to create a world. In very different language, there is no one who does not believe in God. The theory of evolution is a religion. It's not nice to call God a particle.
No.
I do have another question.
So here's the point that I'm making. The only way to understand the universe is to know why. Without a why, nothing would happen, because everything began with one being. The only thing that could cause that one being to turn into a universe is its own desire, because there is nothing else. So, thousands of years ago, very smart people figured this out. The universe came into existence because the original being wanted to create a world. The motivation had to come from within because there was nothing else. So what do we know about God? The most original, the most primitive, the most primordial. What do we know about God? That he's powerful? That comes later. That he's smart? That comes later. The thing we know about God is he wants. He's not indifferent. What does he want? Whoa, we've been studying that for thousands of years. What does he want? So Hasidus says he wants a relationship. Because as he himself said, it's not good to be alone. When you daven, when you speak to God, you know who you're talking to? Somebody who wants you more than you want him. You ask God, please give me this, please give me that. You're not trying to change his mind. He wants to give you everything. So what are you praying for? In a sense, you're saying to God, I'm ready. Not I have to convince you to be nice. Doesn't that make sense? Why are we always praying to God? Telling him, do this, do that, cure us, send us, pick us, make us big. Well, he doesn't know what to do. God, I want to get married. You want to get married. He invented marriage. He wants you married a lot more than you want to get married. He wants you to have a baby a lot more than you want to have a baby. By praying, you're saying, I also want. Not I'm trying to change your mind. Even asking for health is like saying, I'm ready to get healthy. Because sometimes we're not. I'm ready to get rich. I can handle it. So that's when somebody said, so what's God? And people start babbling. This one rabbi, they're having a debate with an atheist. And the atheist said, you can't even define, what's God? God is with me when I'm in trouble. God is scared. He says, okay, thank you very much. I rest my case. The definition of God is the original being who wants a relationship. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. It explains everything.
Another question?
Yeah. Oh, this is actually from my mom because I told her we were gonna come speak to you, and she wants to know your perspective on like the meaning of life and how people can connect with their own meaning and purpose.
Whoa. It's a little tricky. My purpose in life has nothing to do with me. When you say purpose of life, it means the purpose that brought your life into being, which means it existed, the purpose existed before you did. So it's not yours. Like you can't wake up at the age of 30 and say, I think my purpose. You can't think a purpose. Either you were created purposefully or you're an accident. And if you're an accident, you can't make up a purpose midstream. You know? So my purpose, it's misleading. My purpose means the purpose for which God created me. So who has a purpose? God. Or the subatomic particle that created me. So you can't make up a purpose. By the way, the fact that people are always looking for the purpose of life proves that there's a creator. Because if you weren't created with a purpose, why you keep looking for it? It doesn't exist. We're not all crazy. And even when we're crazy, we can't make up something that doesn't exist. Like the greatest fantastic imagination came up with E.T. What is E.T.? An upside down boot with eyes.
An alien.
No, well, what's original about E.T.? Absolutely nothing. Human beings cannot think of something that doesn't exist. Imagination means rearranging known
Things.
So if we're running around asking, well, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Who said you have a purpose? Just eat, drink, and be quiet. And eventually you'll die and you won't have your question anymore. But no, people have an urgent need to know the purpose because there is a purpose.
Mm.
So the only way to find out what the purpose is by asking God, why did you create me? This is so important these days. The question has become much more urgent and much more dangerous because if you don't tell kids why they're born, they get suicidal. In fact, all the anxiety that we're suffering from, everybody is on anti-anxiety from a young age. It all comes from not knowing why we're here. I mean, what would cause more anxiety than that? This is your room, this is your school. You take the bus, you go there, you learn, you bring a report card. Why am I here in the first place? Never mind. Here's what you do. You get on the bus and you get a report card and you get a job. Why am I here? Anybody know? Not knowing why we're here causes anxiety. Anxiety means I don't know why I'm here. That's what it is. It's not the same as fear. Fear means there's a monster in my closet that's out to get me. That's not anxiety. Just get the monster out of my closet. Anxiety means nothing is right. Where did that come from? I don't know why I'm here. It's misery.
Yeah.
So what does Christianity say? Why are we here?
To go to heaven.
Hmm?
To go to heaven.
Why are we here?
Try really hard to go to heaven.
To help other people go to heaven?
We're here to get away from here.
Yeah. Bring everyone.
We're here to bring everyone around us to heaven.
Why are we here? We're supposed to be in heaven. Why aren't we in heaven?
We appreciate heaven. Feel like we belong in heaven. Prove our worth.
No, the truth is, everyone starts in the middle. Science begins in the middle. Once there's already a particle that can expand and has room and has heat, okay, start at the beginning. Religion does not start at the beginning. You're born in sin. Want help? No. Why was I born in sin? You were. The only place where you get an answer is in the Torah. And the only part of Torah that explains it is Chassidus. That's why you're here. I mean, here. So, how do you find out your purpose in
If
life?
you enjoyed this conversation or this topic and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there is a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it.